which Eggs actually isn't doing bad either. I think Eggs lost 1-2 to Champ, 2-0 MCanning, then 1-2 against Future. So it's one of those things where it's like really tough depending on who you run into. But I mean, let's be real. This man over here in the bottom left, MCanning, he is the people's champ. People love him. He's pausing the game.
He just wants you to make sure. He wants to make sure he's listening in.
I hate him now.
He's like, keep talking good about me. This wasn't even a please.
Hold on a minute.
This isn't
Look at me a little bit more, you know.
It wasn't even a please pause, man. This was just a pause. MCanning doesn't say please for nobody. He's just like, pause! And then we get back to it. Alright, in the bottom left, Red Protoss player. Ben was about to talk about how great he is. It's MCanning.
He's a good lad. He's a good lad. And spawning over in the top right, as our Blue Zerg once made cats lose his mind, it is Ukko.
Yeah, I was thinking this. I was like, please, not us, not tonight. You know, we've been here a while already. We've been pretty non-stop all day. Come on, Ukko. You know, give us a long game if you want to, but let's not draw for an hour and a half. You know.
You know what, Wardy? I'm gonna be the other side of the coin here. Ukko, make it last as long as you possibly can, mate. Because you know, today it's been beautiful. Wayne, that series against Gung-Fu, those storms, Wardy. I think
they're gonna keep Zergs up at night, man.
Mate, though, I hope somebody makes a freaking clip and puts that on StarCraft Reddit, because that was some of the most glorious engagement I've ever seen, and oh, absolutely gorgeous that was. They won't do it though, because you know StarCraft is Protoss Reddit, and that makes Protoss look good.
I was gonna say because no one goes on our StarCraft anymore, but yeah, that makes sense.
Only Protoss players.
Only Protoss players.
Which
there are none of.
And you're calling them no one. How dare you, Wardy?
Protoss is dead to me, man. Terran and Zerg for life.
For life. You know, if you, it is a real thing though. If you go onto Reddit at any point in time, you'll see them whining about Terran, but not as much about Zerg, which drives me mental, Wardy.
Drives you mental.
Yeah, you know, you can see these graphs where it's like, oh, Serral holds like a 98% win rate against Protoss. Then it'll be like, Maru holds a 73% against Protoss. And it's like, screw Terran, damn Widowmine guys and Ghosts and Marauders. And it's like, oh.
To be fair, they complained about Zerg for about 4 years, and they really realized just nothing was going to be done. So they just moved on.
You think that's it? They've turned their attention?
No, I think the people that were vocal about it just gave up. They actually got bored of complaining, and now new people have started complaining. They're like, well, people listen to us now, something like that.
That's true. That's true. You know what I think they've done, and this is absolutely real. So when they whined about Zerg, like the Terrans would also be like, yeah, Zerg is broken, or in fact, you know, we almost wouldn't take part in it. We'd be like, oh yeah, you know, that's your guys' problem. But because Zergs are so spineless, as soon as they whine about Terran, Zergs are like, yeah, those assholes, and then they pile up, you know. So again, Zerg propaganda all the way. Nathanius was right all along. Cabal.
The Cabal. God, the Cabal memes were so good.
They were so good, dude. Like you know, he went. Nate did go full conspiracy theorist, and like, you know, he caused a lot of entertainment for all of us. So you know,
we used to have Cabal memes. Now we only have Smoothgate memes. So who's the real loser here?
That's true. That's true. I kind of miss the Cabal memes. Like, I see them every so often, and they always make me smile. You know, but yeah. By the way, MCanning going for something very old school here. The Void Ray into the Oracles.
Yeah.
Fun. Very old school.
Fun because you kind of get out on the map and you can deny the Overlords quickly, so it's a little bit tougher for the Zerg to really ever scout what's going on. So yeah, going to be a fairly blind Ukko for a little bit. And yeah, the Void Ray obviously is doing its job so far. And only one Oracle, right? So single Oracle, no further production suggests something to follow up from there. We took a fast third Nexus, but now the Robo goes down. It's just a lack of Stargate units, which sort of suggests that maybe something else is coming. Now we see Forge and Twilight 2. I'm not sure what it would be, but yeah, just one Oracle's very weird in this day and age, even with the Void Ray first.
Absolutely. And this, like, there's a reason behind it, right? As soon as you see that Void Ray, you're not super scared about the Sky Toss that you can't pierce anymore. You're not really that scared of much, and you see that from Ukko. Like, he, on his side of things, it's like, all right, I've droned up, that's great. I got a really fast lair as well, that's great too. In fact, he's had 7 Lings on the map and 7 Queens for this whole period of time, and that is not a lot of units, Wardy. He has got away with some incredible greed over here, but it's also because this build from MCanning just doesn't really pose that much of a threat.
Yeah, that's very true. It just, I mean, the 2 devs that finally showed up did absolutely nothing. You're right, 1 Void, 1 Oracle is not that scary. The devs never came across the map early. Yeah, now we're on our way to what, Immortal, Charge, and +1. Funky stuff, man. MCanning came with some fun builds when I watched him against Skull. I didn't see his games against Eggs, I'm not gonna lie, but definitely a different spice of Protoss to what you're used to in this PvZ.
Absolutely. And I mean, he's going to have a strong, stocky ground army, but I'm just scared for him because Ukko is lining up that he's going to have 4 base saturation pretty nicely as well. He's got decent tech out. He's going to be making even more drones here. And Roachling Ravager, along with some Banelings, because he's getting that Baneling nest on the go. Like, he's droned up, and there's not really much that MCanning has been able to just throw out at him. Like, the only thing he's going to have is these charge lots that are expendable for the time being. And yeah, Ukko now, he's got his eco where he wants it to be. He's in great shape.
He is in good shape, yeah. And this map is actually kind of a big one if you just don't let much happen, right? Like, you open up the minerals, you get a 5th base, it's pretty well set back. Maybe it's a little bit large, like top left to bottom right from like base to base, but you get good creep up. I don't think this is much of an issue. You can see MCanning obviously just straight into Storm, so he's very happy to play into that. And yeah, we just see an infestation pit coming up. Both players are just going to tech along here, and I like that. You know, we're going to get like a bit of a macro PvZ without anything being super crazy early. I'm down to see these 2 really kind of duel all the way into the later stages.
Yeah, me too, because like MCanning, the way that he's played is very respectful. It is definitely not being like, I'm going to keep throwing like daggers at you and do crazy stuff, right? Like, he's absolutely playing the respectful Protoss, but often the respectful Protoss, despite us all loving them, can often get themselves into a bit of a rough spot. But this army that he's got, Immortal Storm, you're going to need quite a bit to deal with that. And Ukko, on his side of things, he is lining up very nicely. Like, creep spread's been pretty damn good, Wardy. I'm looking at his side of things. He's up to 5 bases now. Supplies ahead, just everything's good on his side of things. I'm very scared for MCanning here.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, man. This is, there's a couple of Zelds down on the other side. It just feels as though Ukko is about to hit, like, full power. Okay, we'll have a hive a few moments later as well, so you'll have a bit more tech. It feels like he's going to get to the point where he can start firing up and shooting, and MCanning's going to have to do a lot of defending, and he's going to have a few fights where he's going to have to be really spot on. Otherwise, Ukko may just overwhelm him a little bit, so a lot coming up in these next few moments.
Late bacon on the way. I mean, 4-base Protoss is nothing to scoff at, is it? Like, he's going to have 8 gases rolling if he does survive the for the time being, but Ukko's completely maxed out now. He's on Hive as well. He's got the ability to produce whatever he likes. The only thing that might be bad for him right now is upgrades, and 61 Banelings all in production here. Look where they're rallied.
Yeah,
that is I mean, they're all rallied onto one spot, Wardy. Look where it goes.
Right,
that is
yeah,
that's a probe line.
I love that he's preemptively split though, man. Like, he's kind of got them split everywhere. Let's see where the first storms come in. Storm on the bottom side would be the juiciest right now. Oh my goodness, the force field forces them all together, so the Banes really take mega storm damage. They still kill 12 pros. Would have liked to see those Banes continue through because the Zelds came in on that bottom side. The hesitation meant they finished warping in, and the super battery healed them up a little bit. There's still a lot of roaches, mind you, and that was a massive fight, and Ukko is just going to clean up after. The only thing he can't stop, that one Void Ray from the start of the game, is trying to save the game.
Absolutely. 15 probes do fall with this, and I mean, cost efficiency, pretty close on resources lost. Carriers are being produced, and, you know, there is another base down here which Ukko does know about, but this was not good for a MCanning, right? Like, you might be wondering why Protosses do throw so much smelly cheese to the Zerg's way or try to slow them down. Well, this is a perfect example. You try and play honest and nice against the Zerg, they will just have more than you. It's just the way the game works. And so you have all these tools to utilize, but MCanning didn't utilize any of them, and losing out your +1 as well, just brutal.
This Void Ray is up to 14 kills. He's targeting all the low HP roaches as... Yeah, that Void Ray is the one thing that maybe stands something of a chance. You just have units swarming everywhere. A little bit of a saving grace. Stasis Ward on the bottom right side. That is going to save you a little bit, so that's kind of nice, but... to be fair, if Ukko keeps losing units at this rate, maybe there's a world MCanning sort of stabilizes, maybe, possibly. I don't want to get too ahead or too hopeful, but... Maybe there's some wild chances. Let's see what these Banelings do as they pop out of stasis. Oh, they kill everything.
If MCanning was to win this game, the funny thing is, we'd have seen bigger comebacks today.
Yeah, I know.
like actually not even trolling here. I've been trolling a bit, but not even trolling. And GG is called. MCanning, we wanted to test his macro muscle there, and he was macroing nice and cleanly. It's just, if you let a Zerg do what they want to do, you're going to have a bad time, because they can make more than you. It's just the way that they work. So you have to keep them honest. You have to make sure they're not just producing drones. You have to make them produce those units that they don't really want to make. Because we talked about it earlier with the way that Cham approached the game. Like, you want to be as greedy as possible while also being safe, right? So you make just enough units. If you make it so they don't have to make that choice at all, you're making the game so much easier for the Zerg player.
Yeah. I think you nailed it, man. Like, there's just not a lot happened, and when not a lot happens, Zerg has a good time. It's as simple as that, right? And like, even just the fact it was one Oracle, like, it's the extreme of doing nothing, because even just 2 Oracles pick up 4 or 5 drones here, maybe another drone there, even just forcing the Queens to have to move around defensively against those Oracles eats into the Zerg's APM, eats into a little bit of what they can do. There was just none of that. Like, it really was, hey, Ukko, you do what you want, and hey, guess what Ukko does? Both 62 Banelings and rallies them at you, and there was even monstrous storms from MCanning. Like, it's not like he missed every storm in existence. He actually had the best storm on the bottom side. It's exactly the one he had to hit. And even that didn't make the difference because there was just that much Zerg ready. MCanning had some really cool aggressive builds against Scarlet. I'd love to see him. If he wants to play a long game, that was not the way to do it. I'd rather him kind of go the complete opposite end of the spectrum and just say, right, I'm just going to go all out crazy aggressive into you. I think there's some potential there.
Absolutely. I mean, MCanning can play solid. He kind of played his game in the way that he wanted to, I think. And Ukko definitely got to play his game, and it was not a fair fight. It was just not. Anyhow, totally different map here. Spawning over in the top left-hand side. Life on the line at this point. It is the Red Protoss. It is MCanning.
I'll never forget his legendary run in 2019 when he made it all the way to playoffs, took down Scarlet in the process in the full season. That was a wild time, man.
Didn't he beat Neeb as well?
Was that in the same season?
I feel like he definitely beat Neeb one time or so, and
yeah, he definitely beat Neeb
fantastic.
One time. Yeah, MCanning just doing well is just such a great thing to witness, but also cool to see a name like Ukko 1-0 up in this series and not looking to go drop out of the regionals just yet. I know MCanning has that kind of fan favoritism around him, but Ukko has been a rising star for a little bit in the NA scene. He's a name he started to recognize over the last year or two, and yeah, putting in some resilience will so far refuse to drop out 0-3.
Yeah. Again, just to mention which players these guys have played, because I always think that's very, very important. Ukko so far played Kelazor and lost 0-2, and lost against Nina afterwards 0-2. Not easy players whatsoever, because both those players are kind of meant to come top 8 in this region, especially Kelazor. And then MCanning lost to Scarlet 1-2, lost to Eggs 0-2, so also not too easy for him. Scarlet being one of the obvious overall favorites, but yeah, now both going at it against one another, and so far Ukko played very solid. Like he was given a test. He went to that test and was like absolutely nailed it. Like he did everything he had to. He wasn't presented with any trick question. It was just like, oh, you want me to drone? Okay, I'll drone. Oh, you want me to do this as well? Okay, I'll do that. And yeah, just really good, solid play out of him. And one good thing out of him too, which we have seen people fail today, he knew how to end the game. You know, you gave Cham a very similar situation where he's absolutely playing against a battered and bruised Massa. He didn't do that, so I think we have to give Ukko quite a lot of kudos as well for just how well he played that game.
Yeah. No, absolutely. He really took the opportunity given to him and presented it. I know everyone Zerg does that, right? Because some Zergs are being like, still, oh, I'm a little unsure right now. I'm going to prepare, you know, a couple of things. I'm not going to be quite as drone heavy as, you know, Ukko could have been. Ukko took the opportunity presented and he really ran with it. Let's see what MCanning does out the Stargate round 2. I would be shocked and horrified if he went Void Ray first single Oracle again, but let's see. Unless he goes like Void Ray 1 Oracle into Glaives, I think I'd actually kind of like that as a switch up.
If he showcases the same stuff, but like you say, does something different, yeah, I would be okay with that, because that could put your opponent into a comfort zone. And then, you know, you catch them totally off guard. By the way, cheeky little adept here, getting not 1 but 2 creep tumors, I think, like before they even began. So very nice out of him. And Ukko will suffer a little bit of a supply block temporarily here. But yeah, that definitely will make you smile if you are a Protoss slowing down a Zerg that much.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No doubt about it. As the Void Ray coming through, the Warp Gate's just over halfway done. Gateway coming up on the front as well. And the hatchery and a couple more queens on the way out from Ukko. So we are going to once again see the Void Ray. Like I say, not against this, as long as it's not the exact same repeat, you know. That's all I'm kind of slightly concerned about. There's a fast third Nexus. That's still fine. You know, if you put your Twilight Council down now and start Glaives, MCanning, I'm still a big fan. And I know that's what, you know, he really is looking for. Me being a fan. Surely.
Absolutely. I want Wardy to be my fan as well, but yeah, hold the phone. Let's have a look-see. Over here. So drones are transferring. Lots of queens coming out as well. Ukko's going up to 8 queens, by the way. That's a real scary number. I am a little bit worried for MCanning that it looks very reminiscent of the first game. Although Ukko this game is making a lot more links than he did previously, eh?
But that's not a bad thing, because if it's the exact same thing and there's only 1 Oracle, you can't defend that many lings, right? So maybe it's just a fantastic play. Like, the Void Ray doesn't kill lings fast enough, so if you get these all across the map, I think this is a really good way to delay that third base. And then what does MCanning have to show for all of this? Not a lot of anything. It's a lot of lings. They're going to get across. Yeah, they take some damage on the way. The Oracle is on its way back home as well. It is absolutely needed back there. So we're going to try and go for the Adepts for a moment. Now we're going to turn onto the Nexus. Oracle will activate. Yeah, MCanning gets back just about in time. He was really trying to hide those lings off around the left side before going across, but the Oracle saw it, and being able to pull back there allows MCanning to get the defense. And that is a moment where Ukko does not make the most of being able to freely drone up. Instead tries to get something done, and it backfires.
It definitely does. Like, his lair was so quick the game before, along with having a massive like drone count quite quickly. This game, though, after making this many lings, he does feel confident to get unit, or rather drones, out afterwards. So even though I think this played way more into MCanning's hands than the previous game, Ukko's not down and out. Like, he had a backup plan behind it, which I think is a sign of you playing very decently here. And he's still trying to get stuff done with these Zerglings, so not a total disaster for him. And also gets a lot of scouting as well.
Yeah, quite a bit of scouting coming through. The additional gates all coming out here. Let's just have MCanning setting up into that Temple Archives as well. And Ukko just going to get melee upgrade. The Baneling Nest is on the way. Bringing its hatchery through. Getting that 4th base up and rolling as well. So, yeah, it just didn't drone as quickly as he could have done. Those lings obviously did not really work out in the end. Let's just have our lings going to go pick this hatch off. Or pick these rocks off, sorry. Yeah.
Ukko's already been catching up in drones, right? And I just saw 15 drones in production here. So he's getting his melee upgrade, he's getting the roach speed. He's getting everything that he got the game before. It's just maybe a little bit later, but also he did a lot of leapfrogging to compensate. Like, his 4th base is close to finishing. 8 more drones. It's just, he feels so safe about nothing really coming at him, Wardy. Like, so safe. This is 13 more drones. He's going up to 90 plus. And you know what? I don't even think, I think it's the right call against MCanning. Like, MCanning is so reserved and conservative on his side of things. Like, he is just letting Ukko get away with murder.
Yeah. No, I mean, he kind of is, man. he's just not moving out at all. It doesn't even feel like he's checking what's going on though, right? Like it's like, yeah, the oracle's around kinda, but like realistically, like how much they're doing. Okay, it's actually gonna get Crypto Mode 2. That's nice, that's something. But yeah, there's just nothing. And okay, he's gonna get Storm. But we saw in the last game, Storm was not enough to slow you down. Now, that said, last game we were like 180 supply to 125 or so. This time, you can see the difference of not having had that first round of drones a bit earlier from Ukko. He's a bit low on supply, but he's also just continued to tech on through. Why has he got? He just had 13 more drones in the way. He's going to be on 99 drones in a second.
I think it's just because he knows that MCanning isn't going to attack him. I really do. Like, the way that MCanning's posturing, getting up so much static defense, and you know, I like his SimCity, especially at that third base of his with that wall and stuff. But yeah, Ukko just feels unbelievably confident to do whatever he can. 99 drones while teching up to Hive. Like, his army right now, if MCanning attacked, you know, he'd be in trouble, wouldn't he? Like, he's got Storm and everything going for him. It's just, yeah, just very, very, very worried is MCanning. Or maybe he's so confident in the late game if he can get there. It's very unusual planning.
Yeah. No, I'm just thinking, like, obviously this game, Ukko could also just take a different route and just, with the Hive done, Spire finishing, just rush Grey Spire, rush Broods. You know, if you really don't think MCanning's coming your way, get the Broods out, and MCanning is not going to be on something to deal with Brood Lords at the speed at which you can get them, so there's the Grey Spire going down. I think I kind of like the idea, and it's also a map where Broods are not going to be punished as much for their lack of mobility. On the last map, there's definitely like a width to the map, which makes it difficult to get Broods one side the other, even if they are faster nowadays. This map's a little bit more like you're just going to push up the center, and that's where most of the action's going to be for a good long while, so it's actually a pretty good map to just utilize Brood Lords on. I like the choice. I think it's going to do well. Knock down these rocks, and we'll see if any initial attacks here from Ukko will go. I mean, at some point he has to trade out some units to afford Corruptors, supply-wise, so yeah, he needs to run some Banelings in or do something at some stage. He's sending some at the left-hand side right now.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, he can kind of trickle in some units if he really wants to. I mean, these DTs could get something done. I mean, MCanning supply is actually very high. Like, he's absolutely starting to get to a spot where it feels like he's wanted to get to in this series. But he is going to run into a lot of spines and spores here, there, and everywhere. Which, given that Ukko did have a huge... Oh my goodness, I mean, it's just kind of a repeat, isn't it? It's just mass Banelings again, just rallied in.
Yeah, it really is. And like I say, this time if you want to, you could maybe go around the Corruptors after. He keeps some more Mauls alive this time. Like, he does keep more units up than he did last time around. Last time he was on like the last couple of Zealots. This time, yeah, a little bit more. We do see a couple Corruptors on the way from Ukko, who's actually going to spend pretty much all his money with 8 Corruptors. By the time they're out, though, he should have the money to morph them into Brood Lords, and that should be a good step in the right direction as our fleet beacon gets started up in the main base. And 2 more Stargates, but it's going to be a little while. We're definitely going to have a Brood Lord push where MCanning does not have really a good response to Brood Lords.
I tell you what, if you are a Storm fan, today's been a pretty good day for them.
Yeah.
Those DTs that MCanning sent across the map, though, they did run into 3 spines and a spore, so they did suffer a horrible defeat. And that's what Ukko has set up at most of his bases, actually, which is really cool to see that he's giga prepared for any sort of shenanigans like that. And the upgrades just keep on coming for him. And yeah, these Broodlords, like, his army's getting really scary here, Wardy. And he's been pretty decent about the upgrades as well. He's going to have 2-1 on the melee. He's got +1 ranged as well. He was rocking 2 Evo chambers. And the gas income for him as well. What is he on? Like 8 gases right now? Maybe 10? 10, I think, actually.
Yeah,
wow.
He has all of them. 12, no?
12, yeah, 12 now. They just kicked in.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's a rich boy. 95 drones as well, static D, +3 melee starts as well. Like, he's running into a lot of the very nicely planned SimCity by MCanning. But I don't know how MCanning stops this right here, right now.
MCanning has 1 carry on the way. Now a second, like, if he had a good amount of carriers, then yes, the Broodlords maybe have a, something to answer them, but right now there's nothing to answer the call of the Broodlord, and they are just going to whack their way through. A Storm is cute almost right onto the Broodlords, which then get transfused back up. So the Queens just expend some energy, and We're just going to slowly chip away. MCanning says, I'm just going to go push across the other side of the map, which maybe isn't a bad response. This is actually one where I actually think the Broods, if they wanted to, could just turn around. But clearly Ukko doesn't necessarily feel the need to fully do that, because MCanning's already disengaging from that base, while Ukko is just going to bring the Banes and everything else back. And no, he's going to lose all the High Templar, no more Storms, and now the Roach Ravager Bane is going to surround this army. Forces a recall. Some of the units didn't get invited to the recall. Oh no. It's just bad, bad, bad.
I just heard another DT dying. Like that Zealot run by over in the far right side will be greeted by a few spores, or rather a few spines, and they will not be able to quite deal with it. But the thing is, Ukko at this point, he's so rich, so wealthy, it's just like, hey man, I've got like, how many broods? 12 broods on your front door? This is a trade I'm willing to take any day of the week.
Yeah, he just needs to be slightly careful. Carriers are starting to get up. I actually am glad we see a few Corruptors already in production, because he does need to make sure he's going to be able to deal with the carriers to some extent, right? And Corruptors may very well be the answer to that, as DTs are going to jump onto this base on the bottom side. So we've done very well. We just lost all the queens, though. Like I say, we're just going to need a few more Corruptors to really see this one through to an end with the way that it's going. So yeah, that's just going to be the next step. 12 Corruptors might just do it against what's currently only 3 carriers. Another big push might just be on the cards here. And the only thing is, Ukko got slowed down a little bit. Obviously, the DTs and so on have forced him to look elsewhere and, you know, pull armies back. So as we get set up once again, let's see if MCanning's had enough time to get set up.
It's just, like, I'm looking at the resources lost have here, Wardy. Like, MCanning, despite being the one that's holding on here, he's also lost more resources. Like, he's not trading as efficiently as he needs to against this, and he's down in economy and stuff. It's just really rough for him, and it's not as if Ukko's been neglecting his upgrades either. He's totally ready for an Ultralisk switch if the time comes for it to deal with the ground army.
Yeah, first storm was actually pretty good there. The next storm, pretty good as well. The Corruptors, to be fair, take quite a lot of damage moving in, not target firing the carriers either, so the carriers will not immediately start falling. Now the Corruptors get rid of one. Obviously, you can just see the Nexus goes down underneath. There's a lot of drones going down too, though. The Zealots are still not stopping. MCanning is keeping up the pressure. 66 to 51 workers in the game. MCanning is making it closer, man, than it maybe should be.
He absolutely is. This right spot has been the Achilles heel for Ukko in this game, hasn't it? Like, there's going to be, in fact, how many Corruptors on the field? 10, 5 more appearing. Ukko needs to, like, calm it down a little bit, right? He really does. He's got 2 spies with upgrades pumping things out now. He doesn't necessarily know what kind of situation MCanning is in, upgrade-wise, but he has to be careful, because MCanning is making him bleed.
I think he just took a bad fight, honestly. Like, the Corruptors ate a storm, and then they just did no target firing on the carriers. And carriers are the sort of unit you need to target fire, because the moment you get rid of one, boom, so many interceptors go down that, power really decreases immediately. So you really want to just go 1, 2, 3, 4, not spread that damage out. 8 more Corruptors. I think we're getting to the point where we're overwhelming in the skies. I would just love to see Ukko get a bit of economy back up, so if he does win out in the skies, he can maybe, like you say, just go for that Ultra Switch to guarantee it on the ground. He might not need it. He might have enough Broodlords left that'll just be okay. We actually popped the Mothership ability here to cloak up, and so we will not be able to finish that off. Ling's going to run the left side, looking to hit that base. And MCanning is still going to have issues, just that he doesn't really have an army too split up to defend multiple places.
No, and those Broodlords getting caught out over there, aren't they? I mean, he has to be so careful here. The Corruptors, though, they are en masse over here, +2 weapons as well. I see the supply falling on both sides, but
he's not doing it.
A lot richer.
He's not doing it. Like, he just didn't target fire anything again. He just left the Corruptors to go in, and just, I don't get why. I don't understand why he's not target firing. Like, all he has to do is right-click a couple things. The Corruptors this time we'll right-click a single Void Ray, get rid of that. 12 new Corruptors coming out. We need to actually shut down this carrier force.
We certainly do. Yeah, I mean, if he waits a moment here, he will have a lot more Corruptors out with +1 air weapon or air armor, which will help a lot against this. And I mean, he doesn't need to fight it right now. He really doesn't. I mean, he will eventually, but MCanning is mortally wounded behind this. Like, it's natural, it's mined out. His main's getting very mined out as well. So it's his third base, actually. Like, he is running on fumes.
Yeah, I mean, he really is. Like, he's got barely any money left. Even interceptors are going to begin to be a problem for him eventually, as Ukko's, some of his base is still a little bit fresher, of course. That goes a long way. He's on 19, about to be 25 Corruptors. I think what's incredible is that these Corruptors are well upgraded as well, and it just feels like they've killed nothing. For how many fights you've seen, they've killed one carrier. One carrier.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, he's you know, there's some Zergs that make it look super effortless, right? Where it just, yeah, that cloud of Corruptors that just feels impervious to damage, and it's like, oh, Viper here, Viper there. He does have one Viper actually in the mix, so it's in the main base right now. I wonder if he's forgot about it.
Yeah. It's funny because, like, obviously the spellcasting usually does go a long way. I just felt like this one of the rare scenarios where you actually didn't need spellcasting, right? Like,
no,
you just were far enough ahead that the Corruptor should have been fine. He had enough of them to absolutely just deal with it. As the Overseer is slowly coming over. She has to cancel the base, so a little slowdown there. So yeah, this was one of the reasons you didn't really need spellcasting. Maybe now... I still don't want to believe that 25 Corruptors can't deal with this. Honestly, like, I really believe in them. They're well upgraded and not everything. But, you know, again, a few Ultras to kind of deal with the ground army too. That's big. If they can run in, take some attention, eat up everything as well, that should generally go well for you. But, yeah, I've kind of been fooled a few times already.
Absolutely. Like, even the air upgrades, you know, like, massively in favor of Ukko here. 2-1 against less upgraded air units of MCanning at 1-0. It's just, he's going in again, though, Wardy, and again, let's see what he focus fires here. It does look like, I'm not seeing the carriers fall, man. They're not falling.
No, he's targeting down a couple of the Void Rays. Now he's going to start getting through the carriers. And now he gets the Mothership. Now he's going to do it. Okay, he gets there in the end. Man, these Corruptors just... I think they were still just spreading damage, you know? And, like, Corruptors are just not really a damage-spreading unit. Anyways, doesn't matter. He gets it done in the end.